Hey everyone, this is Chandler Rice. I'm with Geeked Out, and I'm here with the creator of Black Lightning, Mr. Tony Isabella. Tony, thank you very much.
I'm happy to be here, Chandler.
We were fortunate enough to have Tony in Las Vegas back in November, and I mean, needless to say, with Black Lightning now becoming the hot show that it is, how is that? How has that had an effect on you?
It's. I describe my career as bipolar. The TV people love me. I mean, I have been treated so warmly by everyone on the show, cast, crew, the creators of the TV show. They've made me feel part of the family. I look at them as part of the family. There's a lot of me in the show, and then they've taken my creations in so many interesting directions. So I love the show. I do TV interviews. I do print interviews. I speak at schools and colleges and libraries and go to conventions. And the fans and all these other people, they absolutely love me. The comics industry itself does not show me the kind of love you would think would be shown to a guy who created a character who's now a hit TV series.
Yeah.
Not to mention that I also created Misty Knight, that I turned Bill Foster into Black Goliath, and he's played a part in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And apparently, I haven't had confirmation on this, but villains I created with Val Mayerick while I was writing The Living Mummy are apparently in the new Spider-Man movie.
Wow.
So I'm thinking I'm done pretty well, and yet the comics industry itself. Now, don't get me wrong, DC and Marvel more than live up to their financial obligations to me. I'm very pleased to be associated with them. Marvel treats me very well. We are still trying to figure out some way of me writing for Marvel again. Right now I do like introductions for some of their collections. DC just really isn't interested. Their idea of Black Lightning is that he should be Batman's support Negro in Batman and the Outsiders, a concept I find incredibly insulting to the character, to his fans, and to me. So DC and I are a little bit at odds, but there are some really good people at DC. And I have to tell you that the Black Lightning Cold Dead Hand series I did is as good as it is, and I think it's my best work ever, due in part to editors Jim Chadwick and Harvey Richards, who gave me the best notes of any editors in my career. They never tried to get me to tell their stories. Every note they gave me was to help me tell my story better, and the result, combined with artist Clayton Henry and colorist Peter Pantasia, and the result was, I think, the best work I've ever done in my career, and a large part of that is due to the people working with me on it.
Okay, well, let's talk about the show, because obviously the show has brought a lot of notoriety to not only the characters but also to yourself. Did you ever expect what's gone on with the show in the sense of how TV? When you were getting into comics, did you ever expect for comics to become as big as it has been in the entertainment industry?
Well, in the case of Black Lightning, from the moment I created the character, I knew he could be a TV show. It just took 40 years for the rest of the world to catch up on me. As far as what else we've seen, if you had told me back at the start of my career that we'd be living in a world where there's 8 to 10 hours of comic book shows, where there are blockbuster movies, Black Panther, one of the best grossing pictures of all time. If you had told me this stuff, I wouldn't have believed it. But the facts are there. The comic book industry is R&D for the entertainment industry. They come to us for their ideas. They work very hard to present those ideas to the public, and the public's response to them.
Well, needless to say, the entertainment industry has completely embraced comics. It's funny because I was actually having this conversation the other day where we were talking about how it used to be the entertainment industry were taking novels and that's what they were basing movies on, and you look at actually some of the, I guess what would be the best like you have Harry Potter and you have
Hunger
Game of
Games.
Thrones
Yeah.
and stuff like that, all were based on novels and
Right.
stuff. But then the comic book industry has given the movie industry the blueprints for some phenomenal movies. And just, you look at the movies coming out today, and I would say probably, what, a third to a half of them are based on comics in one
Yeah.
way or another, whether it's a graphic novel
Right.
or whether it's obviously a very well-known
And it's not
comic
all
character.
superheroes. Sci-fi just launched Deadly Class, which is a suspense comic book about a school for assassins. iZombie isn't really a superhero comic. The Umbrella Academy is coming out later this year. So it's not just the superheroes. People are coming to comics for ideas.
And speaking of coming to comics, obviously you look at the comic book industry, actually more specifically the comic book convention industry, and how it's changed over the years. I mean, you go back to the 70s and 80s when you started seeing the comic book conventions first happening, and it was in small shows, small venues, almost similar to the one that we're at today, which is here in Dallas, Texas, which is at North Dallas. North Texas Comic Book Show, and you're one of the guests here, and this is kind of an old school feeling to conventions versus some of the mega shows that get put on.
Right.
And I would imagine
This is comic. I mean, this show is comics creator centric. I know all these guests. It's like a 70s, 80s acid flashback. And I have a great time seeing them. Linda Lesbin Reinhold. Linda and I started at Marvel in '72 about the same time, so we go back, 46 years. I love these kind of conventions. I also love the bigger conventions because I find them a challenge and an opportunity. We have so many millions of comic book fans who don't read comic books. They came to us via the movies and TV series, and to me the challenge is to try to get those fans into the actual comic books, and it's an opportunity to add to our readership. Now conventions can help. These mega conventions should, when you have a creator like a Jim Starlin, without whom Avengers Infinity War just doesn't exist, or Don McGregor and Christopher Priest, who basically wrote Black Panther, to Mike Grell, who Arrow draws so heavily on Mike Grell's work on Arrow, on Green Arrow, or me, without whom you don't get a Black Lightning, or Marv Wolfman, without whom you don't get Blade or most of the new Teen Titans. Those creators, these mega shows, should treat us the same way that they treat the celebrity actors. Because if you do that, you create, you let the comic book fans who don't read comic books recognize our importance to these movies and TV series they love. And again, it's all, it's not so much an ego thing for me as it is, let's get more readers into the comic books that are the source material for all these things. And it does mean that comic creators, if a convention does say, yes, we're going to sit you next to William Shatner or someone like that, or Ryan Reynolds, you got to up your game. I mean, I charge like $5 for an autograph. If I'm sitting next to an actor who's charging $50, I could see the actor feeling like I was undercutting him. So if I get conventions that place me that way, that treat me that way, I'm going to up my game. I'm going to bring special, items that will only be available at the convention. So it's more value for the fans. I'll charge a higher price for them. I'll still probably be lower than the TV stars, but it'll be a way of not undercutting them too much. And we also have to think about different presentations. Last year in Cleveland, a friend of mine, Ted Sikora, who does a great comic book called Apama, the Undiscovered Animal, and he we did a farewell to one of the great old rock bars in Cleveland. Actually, it was in Lakewood, Ohio, which is next to Cleveland. And we put on something called the Tap Dance Killers Cabaret, where we had comic book themed entertainment. And my part of the show, my first and only nightclub appearance to date, we acted out, with members of the audience, we acted out an issue of Black Lightning, Cold Dead Hands.
Cool.
We had the pages up on a big screen. We invited audience members to play certain characters, and we performed the first issue, and it got a great response. And again, that's the kind of show that I'm willing to bring to a convention that treats me, that ranks me with the celebrity guests. Again, it's not a question of ego. I mean, I've been in this business 46 years. If that doesn't beat the ego out of you, nothing will. It's because I think it's a way to bring more readers to our work.
Well, yeah, you're just from what you're describing, what you're doing is you're engaging the fans and getting them more involved in the process, to a certain degree, the creative process, because they themselves, and I would imagine someone who's shy is going to be like, no, but someone who's outgoing is going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to give that a try. I've always wanted to be an actor. And, here it is. You're able to have fun. And at the same time, it creates a situation where people go, that was a lot of fun. I need to see where this came from. I need to find out more about this character. And next thing you know, they're picking up the new issues and the back issues and everything. And like you said, it's increasing your readership.
Exactly.
So, that's a cool idea. I may have to steal that for
anybody who wants to steal that idea can do so. It's an entertaining way to, not that the panels and the interview things aren't entertaining, but this is a different kind of entertainment that a comics creator, with the help of a convention, can bring to the convention and to bring to the fans who come to the convention.
And I think to a certain degree it creates a whole new sense of excitement, because if suddenly you have a couple of conventions doing something like that, next thing you know, the fans are like, oh yeah, I heard about that at such and such show, it was great, and I'd love to get involved with that. So, again, this is an idea from a brilliant mind. I will simply say that. Well, Tony, I thank you very much. We're here in Dallas, Texas for the North Texas Comic Book Show. There you go, Chris, got that right. And what's in store next for you?
I'm currently writing a book called Black Lightning and My Road to Diversity, which will be a history of my career working with characters of color, why I did it, how I created them. It'll delve a little bit into the African American creators who have been in comics since the 1930s. E.B. Stoner, for example, who was a pulp illustrator, had a story in, I think it was Action Comics #1. Of course, nobody knew who the creators were back then, but there was an African American doing comics at the start of the comic book industry as we know it. I'll talk about diversity in comics and what I feel that should be. It'll be scholarly in some ways, but I can't write something that's not at least on some level fun. So I think it'll be a great book. I hope to have it out by the summer. My next convention is Pensacon in Pensacola, Florida, because if I'm going to go to a show in February, I'm going to go someplace a lot warmer than Ohio.
Yeah, I can.
And then I guess after that, I'm at the Big Apple Con in March.
Which we will see you there.
We'll see you there.
See you there. Well, thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, Chandler.
Again, we look forward to having you someday coming back to Las Vegas. You are always welcome to come back and join us. I'm Chandler Rice. This is Geeked Out, and my guest again is the unbelievable, brilliant mind and the creator of Black Lightning, and that's Mr. Tony Isabella. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.